Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Camp Hustle 1 here, back with another video. Today I'm going to be making you a stew, and not just any stew, a seafood gumbo. This will be the second episode of Cooking with Camp, and if you guys are finding me for the first time, make sure you click down that subscribe button, as I'm always coming out with videos typically concerning gaming and tech, but I'm starting to delve into other things now. I hope you guys will enjoy this episode. Without further ado, let's jump into it. Alright, so starting with our proteins, I will have 3 ounces of snow crab meat, 12 ounces of Louisiana crawfish tail meat, 14 ounces of hot andouille pork sausage, and 12 ounces of 60/80 raw peeled and deveined shrimp with the tails off. Moving on to the aromatics, I have about 8 celery stalks chopped here. Next, I have 3 green bell peppers, also chopped, 4 ounces of green onion, chopped. Next, we have 12 ounces of fresh okra. This is a pretty important ingredient. This will help to thicken our stew. Next, we have 8 ounces of diced yellow onion, 3 ounces of minced garlic, and this will be accompanied with 3 ounces of Worchestire sauce. Moving on to the roux, I will be using 1 cup of extra virgin olive oil and 1 1/3 cup of all-purpose flour. The stock will be made with chicken stock. I have about 64 ounces here. And the beer I'll be using is a Yingling Lager. This is one of my favorite beers. You can use whatever beer you'd like. Moving on to the spices, I will be using salt and pepper, bay leaves, Creole seasoning, of course, what little bit of cayenne pepper I have left, and I will finish it off with some parsley. Starting on a medium-high heat, go ahead and add your oil to the pan. This entire process will probably take around 45 minutes. Really don't want to go too much longer than that, depending on how hot your stove top gets. But yeah, once you add the olive oil, you'll add also the 1 cup of flour. What you'll want to do at this point is just constantly stir to incorporate the flour into the oil. And you're just going to keep stirring until you get about a sand texture, and eventually it will come up to a pancake-like batter texture. And as far as coloring, you'll start with this cream color that I have here, and you want to work until you get kind of like a deep chocolate brown. I would say maybe like between like milk chocolate and dark chocolate. You don't really want to go much darker than that because you do run the risk of burning the roux. And one thing about this is that you don't want to turn your back on this roux while you want to just constantly keep your eye on it, constantly stir, because if you mess it up and you burn it, you have to start all the way over. Now that the roux is completed, I will take it off the heat and I will add my stock pot, for which I will add all the rest of my ingredients. First, I will add the smoked andouille sausage, and I'm going to cook this until probably about 15 minutes so that the oils will come out. We're going to use these oils from the sausage to mix in with the roux, and we're also going to mix in the vegetables as well with this. So we're going to cook this, like I said, for about 15 minutes until we have a nice flavor built up on the bottom. That's what you see there. So now I'm scooping out all of the sausage, and I'm just going to set this aside for later after I add my stock and vegetables and everything. So just keep this in a little handy bowl to the side. And once everything is out, you will add the roux back. And be very careful at this step because you still have the heat pretty high. So I backed it back down to a medium heat, just so that I can get all the roux in there and not have it burn right away. And after you have the roux in, go ahead and add your yellow onions, your diced yellow onions. And the diced onions are going to be cooked by themselves for about 5 minutes. You want them to be nice and translucent and well incorporated with the roux. So I'm just going to give it a nice little stir here. The next two ingredients will complete our trinity. It is going to be celery and green bell peppers. So those are going to take the next 5 minutes. It has been 5 minutes, so let's go ahead and add our celery and also the green bell pepper. We're going to mix that in. Get that nice and incorporated with the roux. And as you see, the flavor is still at the bottom there. It's still dark, but don't worry about that. We're going to go ahead and add our bay leaves and our minced garlic. And the garlic we're going to cook for about a minute. And after all of that is well mixed, well incorporated, we're going to add our 64 ounces of chicken stock. And give that a nice mix. And this should also help with the flavor on the bottom as far as getting all that up. All the acidity from the onions and the peppers will help get all of that up really, really nice. At this point, we're just going to stir the vegetables together and just try to get all of that flavor off the bottom. Using our wooden spoon, that makes things a lot easy. And we're just going to cook this until temperature comes up to a simmer. And then after about 15 minutes of stirring, we will go ahead and cover that up for another 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, we're going to check it out. And this is where we add the beer. This is the Yuengling lager that I had earlier. I'm going to go ahead and pour about a third, what was it? I guess like 3/4 of this in there. The rest you can just take to your head. That's what I did. I just drank the rest of it. And so we're going to go ahead and stir this, and it should be at like a steady simmer. And at this point, we're going to cover it for about 5 minutes, come back, give it a nice stir again, now that all that flavor is coming together. And at this point, we're just building flavor. And we're going to go ahead and add our dry ingredients now. This is the Cajun Creole seasoning, the Worcestershire sauce. I'm going to use some thyme. Next will be our black pepper. And yeah, I know what you're thinking. Wow, that's a lot of pepper. And you're right. Next we have cayenne pepper. This is the last bit that I had. I wanted it a little spicy, so I added all I had. I use a lot of cayenne pepper in my house. And then we have a little bit of salt, just to kind of amplify the rest of the flavors that are in there. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and give that a stir. And you're just going to let this flavor develop for about 15 minutes. Just going to stir this all in, then we're going to add our andouille sausage. And the most important ingredient, the fresh okra. So the okra is going to act as a thickening agent. If you're using fresh okra, you'll notice when you slice it that it's a little slimy. That's good. So that's going to react with the stew, and it's going to give it kind of like a gravy texture. So let's go ahead and cover that up, and we're going to cook that for about 40 minutes. Moving on to the rice, go ahead and use 1 cup of rice and add that to your stock pot. And then I'll be using 1 1/3 cup of water. There's a lot of contention on whether you should rinse your rice or not rinse your rice. I did not rinse my rice for this example. I just poured the water in, gave it a little bit of a mix, and then threw it right on the pressure cooker. But if you rinse your rice, go ahead at this point and rinse your rice as many times as you'd like. Just make sure all the rice is nice and loose, and then I will go over to the pressure cooker. So once everything is in, I go ahead, plug in the pressure cooker, and just do the rice setting. I believe the rice setting cooks it at about 12 minutes. So I'll go ahead and do that, and I will wait. During this 12 minutes, you will take the snow crab, the crawfish tails, and the shrimp and add it to the stock. It will take about 10 minutes to cook. After that, go ahead and scoop out your rice, pour on the stew, I get about three good ladles here. Make a little bit of mess on the third ladle, but then one more, and then make sure you clean up for that nice thumbnail. And here you are. Hope you guys enjoy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so it is now time to sample the seafood sausage gumbo.
Perfect.
I do want to thank everybody for tuning into the video, staying all the way to the end. If you guys like the video, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, as I'm always coming out with new videos. Like the video and comment down below if you guys want me to do more of these videos. Wow, that's hot. I need water. Wow. It is super spicy. On a scale of 1 to 10, this is like a 9. This is really spicy. Feels really good though. So I'll see you guys on the next one. Hope you guys enjoyed. This is Camp Hustle 1. Out.